You are ready.
This is APC.
Little nudge.
Okay, we'd like to bring the April 7th Area Planning Commission meeting to order. We would ask that you silence your cell phones, please. And if you would, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank everyone for coming this evening. Mr. Glancy, could you do roll call, please?
Jerry Caudell.
Here.
Josh Courtney.
Here.
Frank Hicks.
Here.
John Pearson.
Here.
Karen Poland. Dana Richmond.
Here.
Clayton Schultz.
Here.
Ron Stewart.
Here.
Raymond Bear.
Here.
Randy Atkins.
Yes. Okay. All right, looking at the agenda, I would like to entertain the possibility of adding an agenda item. We are currently without a vice president on the Area Planning Commission due to Dr. Bothwell's resignation. So I would entertain a motion that we see if we can elect a vice president. That would give me some security.
So moved.
Okay, so we have a motion from Jerry Caudell to amend the agenda to elect a vice president. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Ron Stewart. Okay, so with that being said, we'll open the floor for nominations for vice president of the Grant County Area Planning Commission.
I nominate Dr. Dana Richmond.
So we have a nomination from Jerry Caudell for Dana Richmond.
I'll second.
I have a second from Frank Hicks. Do we have any other nominations for vice president?
I'll make a motion to move the nomination be closed.
We have a motion from John Pearson to close the nominations for vice president. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second from Josh Courtney to close the nominations. With that, with only being, we need to vote, right? Okay. All right, so we'll let Todd catch up.
Ready?
Ready?
Jerry Caudell.
Yes.
Josh Courtney.
Yes.
Frank Hicks.
Yes.
John Pearson.
Yes.
Dana Richmond.
Abstain.
Clayton Schultz.
Yes.
Ron Stewart.
Yes.
Raymond Bear.
Yes.
Randy Atkins.
Yes. All right. Congratulations, Dr. Richmond.
Hope you wanted it.
Okay, we will move forward with the agenda. Item number 3, approval of the minutes. If you would, please take a look at March 3rd, 2025 regular meeting minutes. We'll entertain any comments.
I had the public meeting at 7 and the regular meeting at 7:30.
So, what do you tell me?
I don't know if that makes a difference on
In the way we approve them?
how we want to go through the agendas.
Help me with that, I don't know.
He's saying we should address the public hearing first tonight.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the public hearing was posted and advertised at 7 o'clock
All right,
for the subdivision, and
okay,
then we'd move into the regular meeting and approve the minutes.
okay. All right, I get that. Thank you for catching me up. So we will move into a public hearing. And Mr. Glancy, I'm going to ask that you give us an overview of the public hearing.
So it's, we have it in our packets of minor subdivision requests for the property located at 8244 East, 100 South, Marion, Indiana. And this particular subdivision is one parcel that's going to be split into two parcels. And there's a little history there in that it was one large parcel, and now it's going to be 5 total. And from the information I provided you and that we've looked over in the office, we do not see any issues at this, unless the public or something comes up, but we don't see any issues with continuing with this subdivision. Is there anyone like to speak for this that's representing the real estate company?
Okay, the way that we're going to conduct this is that those in support would be considered the petitioner.
Okay.
And we will give them 15 minutes for a presentation. And then we will follow that with a 25-minute presentation by those who may be opposed. And then there'll be a follow-up opportunity for the petitioner as a rebuttal for 10 minutes. So we will start with a 15-minute presentation by the petitioner.
There we go.
Do we have the prints that he's about to present in our packet?
The one map, there's a map in there, colored map. Yes.
We do have this in our packet. Okay. Go for it.
Okay, my name is Barry Bunnell. I'm a licensed land surveyor in Indiana, and the Saunders family has asked me to provide several surveys for them, the last of which was Florence Meadows subdivision. Basically, we took about 13 acres and split it into 2 tracts. The 2 tracts that are left are Lot 1 and Lot 2, as you can see on your maps. And we also have a 50-foot wide tract, which gives us access back to Lot number 2 with easements that are associated with each one of the building tracts going back, as well as Lot number 1 and Lot number 2. And I guess what we are doing here this evening are hoping we got all of our T's crossed and dotted I's, and are asking for final approval of Florence Meadows and hopefully signatures to finish out our subdivision.
Okay. Each members, do we have any questions? Are we following what the petitioner has presented to us?
Is this the correct address, 8244? Because that's on the north side of the road, and that should be an odd number. All even numbers are on the south side of the road. So that address cannot be correct. If you approve something with the wrong address, it might create problems.
Which address are we talking about?
The 8244, that has to be on the south side of the road.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
that might have been a billing address. No one lives here yet.
Yeah, but it can't be a billing address and be on the north side of the road. Them are odd numbers. That's an even number.
That's a really good catch. I appreciate that. And in like on this first page, it's talking, this is a general description of the property address. We can easily change that before we record the property.
Just make it like.
So this is the application for that. We'll put a correct address on there when we go to file the next steps.
Really? Is there another picture other than this?
I don't know. I'm here, they're small.
That's the only picture
They'd
we
like
have
to
to
see
look
it
at.
pass this around that up so they can see a
Oh.
bigger picture or
Welcome
pass it
to
around.
pass it around if you want to.
Would one of you hold it and one of you kind of talk to us about it? So that we can make sure we've got a clear understanding.
You want to hold it and give a description?
Or we could pass it around. What are we can pass one
There's a home right here to the west, probably about right in this area there. So you might be able to get an address off of that. It's probably.
Oh, and then there's an address here too.
Right, so,
And then you're gonna share a lane, right?
yeah, so the lane starts right there. This section here isn't owned by us, but this section here is gonna be the private drive extending all the way back. And then there's driveways for each home coming off that private drive. And the extension that we're wanting to do, the additional split is right here at the creek area.
It's a good explanation, but I don't think very many of them watching you.
Well,
Go ahead.
You got like 2 or 3 of us.
Sorry.
Try this again.
So, right here is where the drive extends or comes off the road, and then it goes all the way up here. And right now it's there, because the original plan was just to have 4 properties out there. But we needed to get approval to get the additional split to put the 5th property out here. So that's what we've been working on for the past few months. It's been just trying to figure out how to go about doing it and getting the necessary approvals for doing that. But then there's going to be an additional, if we get approvals, an additional drive that goes back and then goes over that creek there. Obviously culvert, private drive extending off of the existing one over the creek, and then another property would be built back here on lot 1. So we're just trying to get that additional approval so we can have 5 homes out there instead of 4.
Is that the total sum of the acreage you own?
There's 24 acres out there approximately total. And then, so yeah, each plot has its listed acreage.
And that is the sum of the 24 acres that you own?
Correct.
Can I ask that question, asking if there's potential for additional development beyond what you're showing us now?
Not on this, there wouldn't be, because we'd have 5 homes that were built. And each one of them would have that listed acreage that's on this, that's being passed around.
So whatever action we take, would that lead to or allow the adjoining landowners to create a subdivision?
No. I mean,
We'd have to approve it
We'd have to approve it again.
for them, yeah.
and there wouldn't be really, because there's gonna be an individual bond on each property, so there wouldn't really be any possibility of that. And I mean, unless somebody wants to fill in the bond, and I don't know, I just don't see the topography wouldn't allow for it really either.
And we're going to assume that you're going to maintain the road going off of 100 back to those homes.
So there is a verbiage in that, you know what section that was on there?
right, it's the upper right-hand corner, it kind of addresses the easements we have. We have an easement A and an easement B, which supply access for
Because the illegal down
4
one drive.
lots
The driveway.
on the south
That's on the
side.
county road.
And then, let's see, lot number 2, which is the south one, out of
County highway know
the
about
2
that?
lots, is going to retain that driveway.
Before we do something.
And lot 1 will have an easement across the entire drive.
Doesn't matter. You got,
drive, right?
Right.
you got fire.
This
You
is
can, you can only have one address per drive.
The upper right-hand corner of the survey drawing there
You get hold of
shows
the highway.
kind of a explanation of easement A and easement B, and the need for an attorney to write out covenants or kind of restrictions and usage of.
You go to this address,
Which
you
house?
can see these things from
Future maintenance.
where they going. Just road out
And
that.
I have been kind of listening to their conversation. We did contact the highway department. They want nothing to do with it.
Even if they have kids in school, the school Bus cannot go back.
So lot 1 and 2 are actually in the north end of the property, correct?
We're right into that on 350 east, but towards it.
Driveway's gonna come off 100.
School bus. I'm not allowed to go back that road.
But they're separate, even though there'll be one drive, there's technically separate easements for lot 1 and lot 2, so the rights are protected.
The 4 tracks.
Yeah, I think you want.
4 first tracks also have easements
Yeah.
that are associated with it.
So that I have legal rights if I'm on lot 1.
Correct.
To go so far.
Because the
Yeah.
road's gotta be a certain width.
And that verbiage on there
inches
is
and all
talking
that.
about the attorney's needing to draft up something for me council.
You need to get right about that.
Yeah, restricted covenant deeds.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that they should. I was thinking of it.
Another question. Is this just approving the splits? It's not approving any buildings? Just approving the split?
I mean, by right, in agricultural, they'd be allowed to build a house, but yeah, they'd have to get building permits to our office like normal.
No.
It's 4702.
They're just asking to split this property.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's going to.
Comments, Mr. Glancy?
I just try not to add another conversation to the conversation. And they're good conversations.
This is good conversation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Frank and Ron brought up, and Jerry brought up a really good point about the driveway and how that need to contact the highway department and how we do the addresses, school bus pickup, several issues there, right?
Well, as long as it's not a county road, the school bus cannot allowed to go back it. It's a private drive.
So then fire access, emergency access for ambulances. And I was under assumption that at all the mailboxes would be out at the road.
At the county road.
And they would be numbered in such a way that, even if it's A, B, and C, all with the same numbers, but then you would know which depth of the property it was. I didn't look that up, and I don't have the code to go by, but that was my assumption. And then you guys had submitted this, right? An affidavit notice for the minor subdivision application in which you guys sent something to all these places, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Right? And then, so it turns into, they contacted the highway engineer, David White, and the drainage board, and we have a letter from them. The health department, the fire department. Did you get any replies back?
Are the replies supposed to come to us?
The drainage board approved it at a meeting.
Right. It was December 31st.
Yeah, they had no problem with the drainage.
It's my understanding that as long as no notification is sent to you, then each of these agencies are accepting the subdivision as is. If there were any complaints, then they would have been brought forward.
But I don't think that necessarily addresses this board's concerns.
Highway department, did they address them on the road width and?
So we did speak with the highway department, and they said they would have no part of that. They didn't need to have any involvement.
Okay.
But that was a verbal conversation.
It was, but then we did also send a letter out and didn't receive any response.
Okay.
So we just kind of did extra due diligence by going and personally reaching out to each one of them. When we were first starting this whole process, there wasn't really anybody at the area plan that was able to give us feedback on the process. So we just were hearing things from different people on the stuff that we needed to do, but we didn't know the formal process, the steps that needed to take place. So we just started going and talking to people in person.
And nobody lives on any of the 5 lots. All of them are.
Currently there's one home being built, two, one of them's very early in the stages.
But no.
Application letter was sent to each of the
The,
agencies.
whatever, lot 2 and 3.
Verifying that. Everything's spelled out right here. I didn't see that. Did they just give that to you?
No,
Other questions? Commission members?
Yeah, I got a question. There's already one house being built, another one in the way process. Do they have addresses already, or they?
So, that would be a question. The guy that was supposed to be here had something come up, Zach, he's been handling a lot of that. They had to get an address because there's power lines and poles that have actually already been put in leading back along this private drive. In order to get, the electric setup up back there, there is, I believe, yeah, we should have gotten some information from them on the address for
Yeah, I can understand that.
So, I just don't.
No addresses at the moment,
I
or?
don't know the exact answer to that question, but I can get that for you.
It's about have to get electrical service one day.
Yeah, that's what he said. He just doesn't know what it is. There's at least a temporary one.
Well, each one would have to have a different address,
Yeah.
different electrical service.
Yeah.
Some kind.
Other questions, commission members?
I have some information if it might help.
Thank you, Mr.
I did not see the affidavit in the packet. Under 15205, the minor subdivision process does require an affidavit being filed that notifies the different agencies involved in the unincorporated counties, the highway, drainage, soil and water, health department, if any park board, appropriate fire, appropriate school. This affidavit was completed. We just didn't have it in our packets. And if there is, someone had said earlier, and it is a correct statement, no response from any agency shall be interpreted as meaning no objection. That's in the code. Hope that clarifies that issue.
Thank you, Mr. Glickfield. Other questions, commission members, before we dismiss the petitioner and seek any opposition? Okay, thank you. You guys will have a few minutes after we hear opposition. At this time, we'll open the public hearing to any opposition. We'd ask that you sign your name and address and
Is the public allowed to see the map that you were showing?
Yeah, it's right there.
I don't know why.
I shouldn't.
I mean, we could
I'd
ask
like to
them.
get my legal counsel's advice on this. Can the public see this map?
Absolutely.
I think, yes, I know it's a big one.
Yeah.
Here's 18, right? Okay. 18 is the first road, and then south side is mostly field. There's a couple farmhouses. There's a few more houses down this way.
I think we're just going to either do a recommendation, no recommendation, and it's going to go to you guys for a
Okay.
right?
No, the subdivisions are our sole authority.
Subdivisions are our sole authority.
That's like the only thing we have sole authority over.
You can't pass the buck.
No.
Okay, well, good to know.
Right there is actually the back of the zone. Up or
You
behind
get
that.
somebody who's an ambulance out there in the middle of winter, and it's snowing and blowing, it's not a county road, it won't be plowed. How they gonna get back there? Same way with fire.
Well,
I've been on fire calls in the middle of the night and the road would be full and you never get there because you're hung up in the snowdrift.
Well, I think we are surrendered
should
of
be a
our
whole plan
responsibility or
there.
obligation to that, if this is
Yeah,
their
I'm-
choice to do this.
And I hate to put somebody back there and, living there, and then they have this problem in the middle of the night and end up being deceased or somebody.
They can do 3 anyway, without our approval, is that correct? It's
This is,
the 4th.
this is just a split for one parcel into 2 parcels. What they've done previously as previous.
They can do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, what we're
All we're doing
discussing,
right now is just the very back.
one parcel being split into two parcels.
Can I ask, since we don't have, can I ask them another question?
Please. Well, no, wait a minute. You mean the petitioner?
Yeah. should we
Not
just
yet.
wait? Okay.
Okay. Anyone opposed would like to come to the podium and share your thoughts?
I don't want to say that I'm opposed, just really curious and have some questions. They're applying for a minor subdivision request. A minor subdivision legally versus a subdivision is what? What is the difference between those two?
That's the difference between,
How many houses?
no, the subdivision of the properties. And in Grant County, if I'm not mistaken, it's 4 or more are a major and 4 and under are a minor.
Okay.
So we changed.
I believe it's 4.
But we're adding 5 houses, correct?
What is proposed in front of us is a split of one parcel into two parcels.
Okay.
What has been done previously has been done previously. And I understand kind of where you're coming from. I mean, just to be completely honest, is they had one large parcel.
Correct.
And instead of going into a major subdivision at the beginning and dividing it into 5, which would have made it major, they did it stepwise.
Okay. So
I mean, that's honestly what I see happening.
what prevents the parcel that is partitioned off, number 1, from becoming another subdivision? And I know they said that they wouldn't do that, that topography didn't allow it, but this board would have to look at it again and then vote again to subdivide that off, or any part of those parcels would have to come back again.
Correct.
Okay.
And as far as I know, and I have investigated that there's no time stipulation, right?
Okay.
It would make sense if we had it in our ordinance, that there was, you do a split, and then you turn right around in 6 months, and then do another split, and then 6 months do another split, right?
You're fine.
But at a certain point, you end up with too small of a parcel to put a home on and have a septic system.
Is there, just help me with this, what's the size that the parcel needs to be for a home with a septic system? How many acres? What's the size of that?
Used to be 1, I don't know if that's changed or not.
I think it's 2.
2 has changed to 2.
Now,
Is that right,
It's 2
Andrew?
now, okay.
I think so.
2?
And it used to be if it's a mobile home, it had to be 5. I don't know if that's changed.
If you want the absolute confirmed, get with me.
Okay, that's
Send me an
fine.
email and I will confirm it.
You know when that changed, Frank?
Again,
No.
just looking
I
for
don't
some
deal with that.
information. So-
You're helping us too, Julie, so continue.
That's fine. No, that's fine. I
Yeah,
just,
appreciate it.
my concern was that we were dividing the property so we could subdivide what already was there, then divide the property off again, and then have another minor subdivision, if you're following me. So then, how many houses can we have out there? And our concern, I think the neighbor's concern is just a change in the culture of the neighborhood. So not necessarily against, but just lots of questions that we have. So I appreciate that. But yes, knowing how many, I may get with you and what's the acreage that we have to have for a home in that
Okay.
area. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are there specific questions that you would like to ask the petitioner?
Not at this point. I've appreciated being able to see the map. I know I called the Area Planning Commission when I received the letter that you were having this meeting and asked if I could come and see the map, and was told I could not ahead of time. So that was, to be honest, a little frustrating because I wanted to come prepared to have those questions and to be able to see that ahead of time. So to be able to have that information and look at it and prepare as a speaker in front of this board is always helpful too. So I'm not sure why I was not able to do that, but I'm sure there are laws that go with that and rules and regulations, but
I'm assuming the public setting that we're in now is what allows
it's the right
you.
place to do that. Okay.
Do you agree with that, Mr. Glick?
Okay, and I appreciate that, so, okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Randy.
Yeah, please reach out.
No problem. Oh, yes.
Anyone else like to speak in a question format or opposed, if that's a term we don't want to use this evening?
As she spoke, I can't say I'm necessarily opposed to it, but I've got questions that have been raised. So just from what I'm hearing, originally it was subdivided into 4 lots, which was a minor subdivision. So now subdividing it into a 5th lot does not make it a major subdivision. So is this a loophole in the law or the rules? So that since there's going to be this 24 acres is going to ultimately be divided into 5 lots. So had he done this originally, this would have been a major subdivision. Is that what I'm hearing? Mm-hmm. But since he did it into 4, now he's subdividing the 1 into 2. This is a loophole that is no longer a major subdivision. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm understanding this correctly.
The differences between major and minor, we'd have to look and see what those are. Did you really skip over anything, not calling a major or a minor?
I guess now is a good time for me to probably bring this up. If you look at the definition of a minor subdivision, any subdivision containing not more than 3 lots, this is where I think this is going to drive this into a major, and this is going to answer the question you guys had. Fronting on an existing street, which is an improved right-of-way maintained by the county, not involving any new street or the extension of municipal facilities or the creation of any public improvements, and not adversely affecting the remainder of the parcel and adjoining property. So although this is part A, 2 into 1, or 1 into 2, the part B part of there's no road that is frontage for these properties, existing county road. So that's going to make it a major split, which means it's going to have to be redone because the paperwork's all filed under minor. And I hate that for these folks, but if we're going to do it, we have to do it right.
We have to do it right.
You know, everyone's learning right now, so I don't know if anyone's even to blame for this. It's just something that has come up, and that's why what Frank was bringing up, that's why you don't see it, because it's not done under a minor subdivision. It would be done under a major. There's completely different rules for that.
Questions for Mr. Glickfield, commission members? We will take his advice on where we go from here, whenever you're ready.
And if I would just note, I'm 95% sure I'm correct. Why don't you go ahead and finish the public hearing, just in case Todd goes back and reviews it and finds maybe I missed something. And then that way they can proceed on. I'm pretty sure this definition, though, is going to require it to be refiled. But since we've already started, you might as well finish it just in case.
Okay. So in the event that it would be refiled, that would require another public hearing.
It would have to be refiled under the major, and I would highly recommend, and for the developers and the individual landowner, there is a review process meeting that happens within the area plan office of Mr. Clancy. I don't know if that happened this time, but highly recommend that happens to make sure everything is lined up before it's brought to the commission next time.
Okay. So you guys you good with what our legal representative sharing with us? We'll give you another shot. Mr. Niergartner, other questions?
Second question I have, are there any, maybe this doesn't fall, or you maybe falls under the drainage board, with the ditch crossing, are there any structural standards that this crossing has to comply with in order to be put in? And the reason I asked that is probably about 2 or 3 years ago, there was a field fire in that field. And then when the fire department responded, they pulled down the lane to the property to the east. And they did not feel comfortable going across that ditch crossing that landowner has with a tanker truck full of water. So a concern that the developer may want to keep in mind is if there is ever a need back there where a fire department has to get back there with heavy equipment, the fire department needs to make sure they can get across that ditch safely and not lose a truck in the meantime. So I didn't know if there was any structural standards that.
I'm gonna be building my home back there across the creek, so I really hope that a fire truck can get back there if my house catches on fire.
If you want to build whatever you build back there, I'm a fireman. Them tanker trucks are heavy, and if you don't build enough roadies that heavy enough, he'll crunch your tile.
Right, no.
And that's what they don't want to do.
We remember that there wasn't anything that we were told by the drainage board as far as structural integrity, but for my own personal peace of mind and being able to go to sleep at night, hopefully have something good.
We're going to bring this back to order. Mr. Glickfield, any comment in regard to Mr. Niergartner's concerns about the drainage culvert?
Well, the drainage board certainly has has control over anything within, is it 75 feet on each side?
Of a regulated ditch.
Of a regulated, is that not regulated?
It is not a regulated
Oh, this is
ditch.
private?
Yes.
So then they wouldn't have any say over that. However, I would definitely have an engineer design that crossing to make sure the structure can handle the load that could be on it, which is what this gentleman's talking about. It's very important. And I would think that that should be part of that analysis that's done ahead of time. Make sure that's also part of the major subdivision process.
Okay.
No, that's all. Again, I'm not opposed to building. Some questions that I had, and especially from the public safety side, knowing that the fire department already doesn't feel comfortable going down the drive on the property to the east. I just hate to see something happen back there, and then they build it and they realize, well, we didn't build it strong enough in order for maybe a fire truck to get back there close enough. So
sure,
just something, if anything, just make him aware of it in a public setting. So
appreciate that.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I don't know what procedure is, but it sounds like at least at some point they tried to come to the office, but because of transition and complications in the office that maybe there weren't clear answers or something. Could we waive the fee for them to do a major, or, consider, they'll have to do the application public hearing, but can we consider the fee paid, since it sounds like try to do that, or maybe only require the difference between the two or something? I think that might be worth, rather than making them pay for a minor than.
I think they can do that. I think it's only fair.
Yeah.
I would go ahead and have board approval for that, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess that's kind of what I'm proposing as.
Okay, we're going to give the petitioner one more shot, and then we're going to clean it up.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I want to say that I think some of the concerns you had were very valid and very to the point. So we appreciate your suggestions as well as your concerns and for your area. What we did to begin with, I guess, maybe a little bit of history on this. First of all, the Saunders family came to me to ask for four lots, about 4 acres, large lots that wouldn't be subdivided. I would say that to answer your first questions about being further subdivided, we could definitely make a provision within each of the deeds for each of the properties. I wrote meets and bounds legal descriptions for each of the lots, the ones on the south, not what we're calling 1 and 2 right now. We did have prior approval. It wasn't even necessarily approval. It was really a recommendation from Brenda Harrison to perform it this way. We were going to have a 14-acre lot, which was the remainder, and then be able to split out these 4-acre tracts to be able to have that one remainder as one tract. Really, I think, is what you were planning on building. But his partner in the business, he's got a construction company, and so they're building barndominiums, and they're very nice big homes. And so the idea of splitting that 4-acre lot into a 2-acre lot really isn't acceptable. It's definitely something that could be put in as a stipulation that no further splits on any of the properties. I definitely agree with that. First of all, I think that can probably be solved. The other part would be, we really got, Brenda Harrison kind of encouraged us to do the minor subdivision this way. And if I knew that we were going to be splitting the remainder, then I probably would have suggested a major subdivision. Looking at the differences between the two, I don't know that there is much difference. We performed the topographic survey. We found out where the water is leaving the property and coming on the property. Most of it's going to the natural creek that's already there. So we're not really affecting, maybe the only thing we're doing is probably slowing down some of the water that's going to be going to the creek. Because what we're doing is we're taking building pads, building them up, but then also taking drainage and going to these ponds that's going to be on each of the properties. So we're probably going to retain more water than we're going to create. So from a standpoint from the county surveyor's office, we're probably helping out the drainage a little bit. As far as easements and driveways, that type of thing, I really think an attorney is really needed to be able to qualify who owes what on their portion of the driveway. And that's something that definitely needs to be addressed. Far as making it a major subdivision versus a minor subdivision, if we need to, we can. I've already done the topographic survey of all of it. I've taken a look at each one of the pieces, and I've also created the lots and set the stakes. It's not that we can't. Seems a little overkill. We've already created the first 4 lots. We're just asking for 2 more. And if I'd known we were going to do that, I probably would have suggested 1 more. Yeah.
Be a total of 5.
So.
We're going to follow our legal counsel's recommendation. I want to apologize for any inconvenience or, that we've created for you folks in regard to, information that we've received this evening.
Yeah, it was kind of, we've been doing this for about 6 months now, and all the turnover that has happened. I actually had to go in there with Katie once and, hey, I need this document and this document and this document, and she was just brand new, and I sat there for like 45 minutes while she went and tried to find, because I read through the ordinances and tried to figure out which documents we needed.
I would recommend you go online and look under 15206.
Okay.
It'll spell out exactly what needs to be done.
For the major?
Yes.
Yep.
Make sure that you've already done it. It's just other than you have to, the application, you'll check major, and then you'll have your preliminary plat approval first, and then 30 days later you can do your final. It can't be done in the same meeting. They have to be done, again, when you read this, you'll see it has to be 30 days apart. So we'll have to do the preliminary first and then the final in another meeting after that. But if you just follow what's in there, you should be perfectly fine. And I'm sure you were not told that, but that's okay. Like I said, we're learning, and we're going to be better.
I do have a question for you, sorry. With regards to the access in the driveway, would it need to be with a major subdivision put up to county specifications? Because that's a lot of subgrade, that's a lot of extra stone. That's a tremendous cost to these guys that are starting a business.
I'd say you'd have to talk to the county highway department, what they recommend.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I would talk to David White and see what he recommends.
Because it'll be the width and the side ditch and all that'll have to be cut in.
That's exactly what I would tell you.
And you'll want to stay it's got to be so far away from them light poles set. Because I know on 350 East, they're going to have to be moved because they're too close to the road. Because somebody built one several years ago and done that, and when they didn't have ordinance, then that's a problem. Because I can't go back there and turn around with my school bus no more. Because it's private. It's not wide enough road.
I got a question. So am I correct in saying that if they can get this private drive, petition the highway department and get it turned into a county road, it would solve the problems? They don't have to do a major
So that's one
subdivision?
step.
It can only be a county road if the county will only accept if it's up to county specs.
Yes, now if they do that, do they still have to upgrade to a major subdivision since they would have road frontage?
Yes.
Sounds like no.
You gotta have, for a major one, you gotta have road frontage, county.
Yes, but do they have to consider it a major if they have road frontage and petition through the county and it makes that a county road? You know, the highway department.
If that became a county road, they could do the minor.
We could split the parcel and then they could just do what they wanted to do.
Yes, but I don't know if they want to spend the money to make it up to those specifications. That'll be up to them.
So what are the maximum amount before any kind of subdivision is 3? If we just decided to not build 2 additional homes out there and just.
Yes, 3 is it stays minor, 3 and under.
Okay. Just for analysis purposes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Questions for the petitioner, commission members?
I'm just curious, Mr. Glickfield, where was the definition you were pointing to?
Under 152, section 152, under subdivisions, the minor is under 05. Actually, that's the procedure, excuse me. The definition is under the definition section.
So we were under the impression it was 3 splits. It was under a minor subdivision, which would technically give you 4 lots. Is that what we were told to do the area plan?
Only 3.
We could do 3 splits of the land.
Yeah. Sorry, where was the definition? I'm sorry.
The minor is, let me find it again for you.
Sorry.
I switched pages to the procedure. The minor subdivision definition is on page 17, under the definition sections, which is 15201. In alphabetical order, so the
Yes.
minor is what has it.
Thank you.
Then major is just above it, which is basically says anything not a minor is a major.
Yeah.
Other questions, commission members, for the petitioners?
Yeah, we're wondering, so you start with 1 property and you split 3 properties off of that, you end up with 4 properties. Is that 4 properties or 3 properties?
No, like 3 splits. So each line on the property is what we were told was a split. So
Is that right,
take
Mr. Lawyer?
the property 1, 2, 3, you're going to end up with 4 lots with 3 splits of it.
That's also defined under subdivisions in the ordinance.
That's at least the information that we were given when we first.
Right. We were considering it 3 splits and a remainder.
And then we just wanted to add that lot.
A remainder.
Behind that creek is woods and everything. It's just a beautiful plot back there. It's just a field right now, and we were just, if we could, instead of just being.
We just want you to be done when you're done and nothing's wrong.
Yeah, right.
Commission members, other questions, discussion here for the petitioners before we release them? Thank you, guys. Okay. Discussion, commission members, before we take some action.
It reads to me like a major. I feel really bad that they seem to have done a lot of work and maybe even asked some people in the office, but from what little I've read, I agree. I think it's only fair that we don't incur further fees, especially because of all they've done, but I don't see how we can approve a minor when it's clearly a major.
Okay. Other comments or questions? So, Mr. Glickfield, what does this commission, as far as procedure, where do we go now?
If the fee has already been paid and the major fee is no different than the minor fee, and the commission wants to, because they've already paid the fee, basically apply that fee to the refiling, that would need to be done by motion.
Okay. And as far as a action taken for this public hearing that we've just had, what's your recommendation as far as action The
deny the request for a minor because it does not meet the legal requirements
Okay,
for a minor subdivision,
okay,
i.e. the road.
okay.
Lots are not on a designated county road.
So let's start with that. Let's start with bringing closure to the public hearing. Okay? So I need a motion for what Mr. Glickfield has just proposed. And would you repeat that again, David?
Yeah, the motion would be to deny the request for a minor subdivision because it does not meet the technical requirement that the frontage be on a county road.
Okay. Somebody want to support that motion?
Should that be a major instead of a minor?
They applied for a minor, so we're denying.
Oh,
We're
okay.
denying the
We're
minor.
denying that. Okay, gotcha.
We need a motion to support what Mr. Glickfield has just stated as the motion. And Todd wrote it down, so it'll show up in a minute, just as Mr. Glickfield stated it.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion from Frank Hicks,
Second.
second from Dana Richmond. When you're ready, Todd, we'll do a roll call vote.
Jerry Codell,
Yes.
Josh Courtney,
Yes.
Frank Hicks,
Yes.
John Pearson,
Yes.
Diana Richmond,
Yes.
Clayton Schultz,
Yes.
Ron Stewart,
Yes.
Raymond Bear,
Yes.
Randy Atkins.
Yes. Okay, that motion carries. So now we'll entertain a motion as proposed to waive any additional fees if the petitioner chooses to file a request for a major subdivision.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion from Mr. Schultz. Do we have a second? Second from Mr. Stewart? To waive any additional fees associated with a minor to a major subdivision. When you're ready, Mr. Clancy, we'll do a roll call vote.
Jerry Codell,
Yes.
Josh Courtney,
Yes.
Frank Hicks,
Yes.
John Pearson,
Yes.
Diana Richmond,
Yes.
Clayton Schultz,
Yes.
Ron Stewart,
Yes.
Raymond Bear,
Yes.
Randy Atkins.
Yes. Okay, public hearing complete. Action towards the public hearing complete. The question is, does anybody need a break before we move on? Are we good to go?
I got a couple more minutes here. Yep.
Okay. All right, returning to the regular Area Plan Commission agenda meeting. Now we are ready to look at minutes from our March 3rd regular meeting. We'll entertain any comments or corrections to that. Hearing none, we'll take a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Motion from Dr. Dana Richmond to approve the minutes.
Okay.
Second from Frank Hicks to approve the minutes of the March 3rd regular meeting. Roll call vote, please.
Jerry Codell,
Yes.
Josh Courtney,
Yes.
Frank Hicks,
Yes.
John Pearson,
Yes.
Dana Richmond,
Yes.
Clayton Schultz,
Abstain.
Ron Stewart,
Abstain.
Raymond Bear,
Yes.
Randy Atkins.
Yes. Okay, moving to item 3.2, March 3rd public hearing meeting minutes. Please review. Any comments or questions?
I'm not sure if it matters, Randy, but I'd made the motion on number 5 there for the solar ordinance, and then seconded it. It's kind of backwards. I don't know if it matters.
We want it correct.
Okay. So on number 5,
Yes, sir.
So Josh Courtney would have made the motion, and then who would have done the second? Dr. Bothwell? Yes, I believe that is correct.
you're not gonna hurt my feelings if you make me take it back and we vote on it next time.
Um,
Right.
if this commission is willing to approve these minutes with those corrections, I am good with that. Do we have a motion? Okay, any other corrections or comments to the minutes of the March 3rd public meeting? Hearing none, we will accept a motion to approve these minutes with the corrections that have been noted. Motion from Jerry Cottle to approve these minutes. We have a second?
Second.
Second from John Pearson. Roll call vote when you're ready.
Jerry Cadell,
Yes.
Josh Courtney,
Yes.
Frank Hicks,
Yes.
John Pearson,
Yes.
Dana Richmond,
Yes.
Clayton Schultz,
Abstain.
Ron Stewart,
Abstain.
Raymond Bear,
Yes.
Randy Atkins.
Yes. Okay, new business, item 4. It appears that we have taken care of that. Is that correct, Mr. Glancy, with our public hearing? Okay.
No.
No. All right, help me with that.
So, do you just want to start? You're going to give me a little introduction. Yeah. So this is more about process and working as exactly what we just went through. Okay,
Thank you.
was a subdivision split, and when the public comes in, where are they supposed to go and what are they supposed to do? And we're working together across offices to figure this out, so we're all on the same page in this building, so that we can be all on the same page for the public.
I love that approach.
And right here's the people that's really doing it.
Angie Jarvis, I'm the county auditor. I have worked with Area Plan for many years. And in the recent years, we've had some trouble with some splits that have come through that have crossed multiple properties. And we've had to reject them, send them back to Area Plan so that they can contact the surveyor or contact the property owner, because the properties either need to be combined or the surveyor needs to do 2 separate splits so that we can process it in our office. We would like to work with Area Plan to have the ability to review these splits prior to the final approval through Area Plan. That way we can spearhead any issue that may come to light, like property owners that sign the documents to make sure that they are current property owners, to make sure that the legal descriptions actually close. We've had several where they don't close or they have the wrong calls in them. That way we can get it back to them so that they can contact the surveyor to get it corrected. So we just want to be able to have that opportunity to review those prior to the final acceptance.
We greatly appreciate those efforts in order to try and resolve some of the problems that we've just seen here this evening. Yeah.
Now, we wouldn't, decide if it was a major or minor subdivision, but we'd be glad to help.
Okay. Belinda, any comments?
No, I think what Angie and I have started is working very well right now. So we just want to continue that.
Okay. Well, thank you, ladies, for your efforts. Mr. Glickfield, does this require any action by this commission?
Well, as I was referring to the ordinance earlier, it highlights who is supposed to be contacted. I think what Angie is asking that her office also be contacted, which would technically require an amendment to the ordinance. It would have to go back in front of the commissioners. I certainly don't know if we need to do all that, but I think Mr. Glancy could easily put it on his checklist that each time a split application is submitted to him, that he also gives the information to the auditor's office for them to review it also. Make sure it lines up with the property records.
And in that would not necessarily require a resolution to the area-wide zoning ordinance for that to happen?
No, they would not require that. At some point when we're doing some amendments, it might be wise to add that in, but not just for that by itself. I don't think we need to do it.
Okay. Okay. So commission's good. Any discussion in relation to what these two ladies have provided to us?
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ladies.
And I appreciate it also. They make my life easier.
Okay.
And then, of course, then the recorders last, right? As we go through a split process, then the recorder is the last office, the last stop.
Would there be a need for them to have knowledge of this before it gets to them, or do we feel comfortable?
What I would suggest with the recorder would be that the final plat be run past them before it is brought to us. So they could tell us if there's any technical issues. They might very well have caught the minor major when they went to record that, when they looked at the plat. And then that would have been a terrible time to learn, oh, we can't do it this way, we have to start all over, because then they're all the way down the road at that point. So
that would be the applicant taking it to the recorder before it comes to us?
I certainly, the applicant or the office should have the recorder review the final plat before we approve it.
The recorder is just to record it. They're not to scrutinize the technicalities of the document.
Oh, you'd be surprised. Go try to record something sometime and see how technical they are.
They can be, but they're not required to be.
Well, they are. It's just a suggestion. If you don't want to do it, that's perfectly fine.
And we have seen that, right? We have taken things up to the recorder and then been able, and was provided feedback, went back, reworked things, and went back. So they do provide feedback that is good, positive feedback. Whether they're required to or not, that happens.
I think it'd be a good practice to offer the opportunity for them.
My basic goal is to be able to get a good process that we are going to go down this process, it works, and make sure the public knows what we're doing instead of sending them from office to office.
I'm looking forward to that, Mr. Glancy.
Hey, we all want to dream.
Okay. All right.
Right now, at the current time, I mean, we work well with the recorders. Aubrey, you know, if there is some kind of a minor issue or they need another signature, they're going to bring it down for them. So the process is working well.
Good. Thank you, ladies. Okay, any other comments at this point, commission members? Okay, can we table 5 for the 5.1 for the sake of time, or?
Well, I can make it really quick.
Make it quick.
So the floodplain prevention ordinance, this is the same ordinance that you passed pre-me, right? And I was here during that meeting. I don't remember when it was, 2024 sometime. That never made it to the commissioners. And so it's the exact same thing. Check and make sure it's the exact same thing. Though I have a copy of what you passed before, but to be able to move this forward, we need to have a public meeting. I need to put out, public notices. We can pass it again. I'll get it to the commissioners certified in 10 days. It needs to be done. And this, which I did not know the importance of this is very important for the DNR and be able to file for FEMA relief in case, God forbid, we have a disaster. So we need to have this updated. It's very similar to what we already have. It's just kind of updated terminology that will get us the money that we need in case we have a disaster.
So in a nutshell, we failed to meet the requirements the last time we passed it, so we'll have to go back through the procedure again of a public hearing and approval. And then Mr. Glancy will make sure that we meet our 10-day deadline to get it certified to the commissioners.
Yes.
Okay. Enough said?
Enough said. Is that quick enough?
Moving forward, item 6, reports, resolutions, communications, and general discussion. Mr. Glickfield, attorney report.
A couple things. We presented the solar recommendation to the commissioners. They now have it. I believe their attorney is in the process of preparing the front page for that, the whereas clauses, that sort of thing. And I believe they will be passing that shortly. Mr. Stewart could probably talk about that a little bit more. I think that's what was just decided. So that's coming. And then I want to also point out that we're beginning, now that we're staffing back up again, the code enforcement part of area plan's job. So Mr. Glantz and I have had several conversations about that. And we're going to be getting back into court and addressing people who do not want to follow our laws.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Glantz, Executive Director report.
The comprehensive plan update, there was quite a bit that happened. Public workshop was held on March 20th. Steering committee meeting was held on March 18th. There's a final online survey for the public. There's some flyers and little cards over here. If you'd like to take those or take them and post them someplace. Let's see, the steering committee will review the final draft. Hopefully in April, and by the end of April, the draft plan will be submitted to Okra to be able to get our grant money. Second item is we're looking for a citizen representative from the commissioners and also from Sweetser. I went to a Sweetser town hall meeting and made a request. It's like everywhere, it's hard to get someone to come and be on these boards, so it gives me an opportunity to thank all of you for being here and participating. Upland last week voted into office their own area plan commission. So I communicated with the town board and to the town marshal and the town manager that we are here to help in that transition. We want to make it, I mean, that's certainly my goal, is to have a very smooth transition. So I've started a list of things in which we need to transition. Who's going to do what one of these functions, and put a date on when we're going to make that transition. It's no longer our responsibility, it's their responsibility. It's the way I look at it. I think that's very straightforward. We just need to set those items and dates. Okay? There were 3 unsafe house demolitions that were completed in this last month in Jonesboro, thanks to the highway department. I'd like to get oath of office documents on file with the county clerk for everyone in the APC. We started to do that with BZA tonight. So we just go over, after this meeting's over, go to the health department. We've got the notary over there, and we'll run through it real quick. And
so you guys need to stop by the health department, sign the paper, we'll notarize you, we'll make you official.
That's right. So it's just one of those things that I don't know if it's been done in the past. I hear it has been done. I've heard it's been used for different things. This is just trying to do the right thing. I have no agenda.
Because nothing's filed in the recorder's office to indicate that you've received an oath, even though you probably have.
Yeah.
At some point.
Well, this goes to the clerk's office.
Oh, clerk's office, okay.
And so I've got one last thing. I'd like to, on behalf of the APC, recognize 2 individuals, Rex Maynard and Myron Brinkle. I've only met you fellows a few times, and and I've appreciated every conversation. And on the
so togetherness here, gentlemen.
From this board, they want to recognize your many years of dedicated service to the citizens of Grant County as a member of Grant County Area Plan Commission, for your steadfast, courageous commitment to serving the will of the people. You represented to help preserve the integrity of Grant County, the Area Plan Commission. We are grateful for your service.
Thank you.
You guys would hold those plaques up for me, please. Everybody give me a big smile. Congratulations, thank you. Okay, item 7, public input and comment. Public input, please.
I'd like to speak for a minute. I used to be on this board.
We'll give you 3 minutes, Rex.
And I talked to him before the meeting started. It's been 5 or 6, 7 years ago. The board went after money from the county. You guys need to look at your money you have left to tear down unsafe structure. When I was on the board, we got down to less than $9,000. It's time for him to turn his budget into the county. It's up to you guys to give him permission. You need to look at your money and see if you need any more money. Because it's been a few years and you only can do so much. It's not like they hand you guys $50,000 a year to tear down unsafe structures. You get it? You might have it for 5 or 6, 7, then you're broke again. So you might be wanting to look at that. Remind you, I just thought of that, and I thought I'd remind you guys of that, because it's time for him to turn his budget in.
Thank you, Rex. Other public comment? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. Motion from Mr. Hicks. Second from Dr. Richmond. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Sorry, guys. We'll work with you. I go to the library. Thanks, Dan.
It hasn't changed. Seem to have a lot of.
Yeah, it's more advanced.
Well, we give them 50. It don't matter. I got it. Yeah, I tried. I think
back when you got to go back for it.
Not now. Even if they haven't used it all, we still donate.
You on the drainage board?
I'm the surveyor, not on the board.
Well,
I don't get a vote.
Well, you see them. They support us a long time.
Except one seems to be big. It's 23 under the definitions.
Congratulations. I think I have more votes.
Yeah, it's 15201.
Maybe we need her.
No questions, just comment.
Yeah,
He said it twice.
Plans, you don't want to go back. All of which comply with this chapter. I don't know what that is, but he was right. It has a thing about the remaining piece being fourth, and that being okay.
153 is the settlement.
Yeah, but. So it says the division of land and no more than first tax and the remaining piece. So maybe that just covers what they did before. No. But I don't understand why they couldn't do that.
And that's remaining piece track.
Yeah, so like he said, that's what he did. This doesn't say anything.
Now I have to make 6 contacts to get a question answered when I can ask it now and get the answer. You're telling me it's inefficient. So I'm not taking it all out. Don't you think it would benefit from some of the?
Is that coming across Wheeling? Is that water?
Yeah.
Right there south of the JC ravine that comes out of that field.
There's only a certain amount of going around.
Get on the map. Sit on it. I can come back here.
So this just means you have to submit it to Todd. We don't have to look at it tonight, but I was just looking at it like, I wonder if it warrants a change. It's not. It is too clear enough. Cash.
Anybody can pay it.
Exempt one division must be one of the following titles.
Yeah, but there's somewhere in here that explains it, exempt 1, 2, 3, whatever. I read it earlier, but.
Well, I don't want to keep you tonight, but I just, it's just really. Thank you, sir.
I can look at it. I'm not gonna be my tail for the drainage.
I know, just look at it and see what you think. You think you're drainage.
We don't have any drains right there.
I think there was a judge here on that.
Would be my guess. That's a drain where nature takes it, not. That's where they don't have to.
They went out and burned that.
But a lot of times they have one running parallel with the tracks too. And they'll catch this ravine and running down the tracks to another ravine.
Once they build